down, this is Dave Decide. Today we need to talk about Jin and his military enlistment, his new hair, and what Jimin has been doing and what Jimin's reaction is to the military news. We have apparently Coldplay's reaction to the news as well, and of course we have news of a possible riot at the campsite. So hater or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on, grab your dumplings, he's spilling mug merch, and let's get into it. Today we have very emotional news of Jin going to the military. He hasn't officially been sent off or even officially gone to the camp yet, but he is definitely on his way. Jin did drop a bomb on us this morning, and I will get into that very soon and talk about everything going on with that bomb. But I need to give context and stuff on everything that has happened so far leading up to that. If you are unaware, Jin is enlisting officially on the 13th of December, meaning he will be heading to the official location and will be starting the ceremony for new soldiers and going through a bit of a training before being shipped off to the official location where he will remain for the rest of his service. This news was leaked by several K-media outlets, and a lot of Jin's official military news was leaked way before Jin would have liked for it to come out. Jin even talked about that. This includes the specific campsite location that he will be at, and then all the previous information surrounding that. The news itself isn't specifically harmful, and I think the people who read the articles, the majority of the people were just curious and were not going to do anything with that information. However, there were definitely a few people who wanted to take that information and act on it. Several reports of alleged fans going near the campsite, booking hotels, and believed to be planning to crowd the place the day Jin will head over there. Jin and Big Hit had actually made a formal statement to ask Army to not show up. This was the first time a literal formal statement saying and begging armies not to show up was made. And usually after any statements, armies will tend to follow it and be really upset when people of the fandom don't follow it. There's of course people who believe, well, maybe those people who planned to show up saw the news article of Jin's location and not the official statement by Big Hit. I highly doubt that, as those people who intended to show up likely have been watching and waiting on Weverse for Jin's updates, and they need to monitor that if they plan on seeing Jin. So they would have likely seen his request. Of course, a lot of the reports of these alleged fans showing up made their way to the higher officials, and they planned on having the area fully guarded. And honestly, the dumbest thing you can do at this point is show up to a heavily guarded military campground full of people with guns and stuff and not expect any sort of maybe death. Jin won't really be able to save anyone. If the military people see a screaming army running towards Jin, they'll probably just shoot or something. This is not some sort of playground. News of Riot police officers and security will be put outside the gates, and if you're unfamiliar with how the area looks, there's a gate that Jin has to make it through. The gate of course checks whether you need to be there or not, and that is the only way through. The gate will be guarded more heavily, and checks will likely be more strict given the situation. I am glad they are taking these precautions. Oftentimes they will look at someone and refuse preferential treatment because it costs the government money, or they simply don't think it will be a big enough deal to do so. But I am glad they recognize the gravity of how unsafe this issue could be if they don't get security. And I think Jin should secretly be on his way now, just to make it over there under the radar and maybe just stay there for a few days so that he would already be inside the camp and there would be no alleged fans that are able to see him going in. I don't think people realize how dangerous this could end up being if they show up. However, he's likely not going to go until he is scheduled, but we do know that Jin is likely trying to make his way there soon, as he's posted a very interesting photo that has gotten the internet dying. He posted a photo of his head completely buzzed off, and it's a different look. He looks great, but it's definitely not a look I think we've seen of him that is real and not Photoshopped. Jin captioned the photo saying it actually looks cuter than he initially thought, and everyone definitely agreed. This was quite sad for me to read because that means cutting his hair was something that he was scared of, implying that he was afraid that it would look ugly, or at the very least be a very different look, which was something armies were scared of too. Funny enough, the photo didn't look too weird to me because I had already seen several edited photos of his hair like that, so it seemed like a photoshopped photo to me, to be honest. But it was funny because Jimin actually changed his profile picture to the picture of Jin's haircut. Armies believe that this was Jimin's way of grieving and being sad. Armies think that Jimin's way of being sad is to cope with humor. But while I think the members have something to be sad about, it's nothing to be too sad about. Jimin and the rest of the members have already decided on a solo career for a bit, so it's not like they would see Jin as often if he didn't enlist. They can always visit the camp, but plus the rest of the members are going to head to the military very soon too, so they will all be reunited quickly. While I could agree Jimin could be sad or crying, his way of saying goodbye seemed to be lighthearted. If he felt emotional, I'm sure he would have written a long essay about everything. I really like Jimin's way of dealing with it. I think it's very funny, and the fandom seemed to have a good laugh too. Jimin didn't even have to say anything and everyone got the message. Others were even hilariously writing that the other members probably were all constantly touching Jin's head, and while I am sure that this is likely something that will happen because Jungkook likes to touch Jin's head a lot, I don't think it has happened yet. I think all the members are so busy right now, they haven't gotten a chance to see him yet. I also think when the official ceremony starts on the 13th, we will see a lot of the boys then get emotional, or at least hear about them getting emotional. I don't think any media coverage will be allowed inside, but perhaps we will get a "hi, this is big hit music." A lot of people also think a lot of celebrities have already reacted to the news and have been preparing for what is to happen. Jin worked with Coldplay for The Astronaut, and the song was written with the idea that Jin will be enlisting. The song keeps this idea very vague, and if you're someone who finds BTS 10 years from now, when the military isn't even a thought, you might listen to Astronaut and think he is singing about a cute lover or partner, or maybe he's married then and you think that this is about his partner. But the reason it's vague is because he doesn't want to verbally say in the song how he is going to miss his career in army, which would imply he doesn't want to enlist, but likely this was a conversation that Jin and Chris had when Chris helped make the song. Which, if you want to see me react to the music video as well as get kind of emotional over the behind the scenes of the music video, I do react to all that on Patreon, so if you want to join me and fangirl over there together, I will link all that in the description. So of course, the question among armies when Jin dropped his shaved head photo was what Coldplay or Chris Martin would say about the situation and Jin being gone. Capital Ball, a radio company, dropped a tweet showing Chris Martin's interaction with the audience and talking about BTS during one of his recent shows. He was holding Wuteo, which is the astronaut doll that represents Jin's song and likely was gifted from Jin to Chris. Chris continued the show by talking about how much BTS means to him and showed the audience the finger hearts. Of course, there's armies in the crowd, so people were really happy about that. And it's so beautiful to see how the world of K-pop and longtime mainstream genres can collide, and not only collide but become really good friends. I think the military is something that all the BTS celebrity friends have talked about and are aware of. Chris was very emotional and people were very happy that he decided to show his sentiment. While of course Chris didn't say anything specific about the military, this was pretty much a goodbye. Chris can't actually physically come out and address the military or even the exact topic, as this would be too sensitive. Korea has very strong military support and the country is very patriotic. If Chris said anything that would imply not wanting Jin or BTS to go, that would make a big part of Korea not like him or the entirety of Coldplay and probably get the band canceled. I know what might happen next is that some celebrities like Halsey and Chris might get bombarded with messages asking them to talk about or wish Jin a farewell goodbye. And I don't think people understand that these celebrities should not do that. The military situation is very political. They should not get involved, especially not being Asian or Korean. Saying goodbye could be misconstrued as a way of political support to Korea or a way to say that Jin should not enlist. Also, most importantly, the other celebrities' lives do not revolve around BTS and what the boys do, so they would have no obligation or need to say anything regarding the situation. I don't even think Chris or Halsey would even be at the campsite to see Jin, as they're not all that close and would be weird for them to show up and meet all of Jin's family and stuff. I wish Jin the best, and please, if you are an army, do not show up at the location, and it's not too late to cancel your hotel and flight stuff if you had planned on flying out. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thanks, just a lovely comment right here. Love you, bye.